From the makers of Sonic Adventure 2 Fandub and Neopets The Darkest Fairy remake comes the examination of Club Penguin user Floppy Feet. While this film has gotten a lot of praise, I can't help but feel that it's shallow. People seem to have missed the central themes of the story and not realize that it's a cinematic masterpiece. In this video, I want to show that those who simply enjoy media for enjoyment's sake are wrong, and how they should engage with this piece of art. The brilliance of this film is showcased in the very first scene. Without shoving it in your face, the themes are all foreshadowed here. The man is surrounded by the most masculine thing known to man, a truck. The truck has also become a symbol for sexual acts, thanks to Berserk. The driver is wearing earrings, hinting at femininity. Alas, femininity wanting to break free from masculinity. The radio is playing badvertising. This podcast plays to childlike wonder. The insane imagination the hosts have is reminiscent of Rascal Children. The film shows that the childlike theme is in danger, for the radio starts cutting out. The burger, seen as lower quality food, symbolizes Lunchables and leftovers. The soppy grease, close-up of the burger, and the driver taking a bite all shows the gluttonous quality of this theme. When the truck hits the woman, we are reminded of the swiftness of death and the negative consequences of irresponsibility. As the driver gets out to inspect the body, we see him take responsibility, but of the wrong kind. Femininity then sneaks up on him. As we all know, no one is born a woman. Rather, womanhood comes like a thief in the night and steals your gender identity. In the driver's last appearance, we see how his prolonged death causes destruction. This is a direct parallel to Floppy Feet's excrements. The characters are the meat of this story, each representing a concept. The zombie apocalypse plot is just a tool to drive them forward, but the core conflicts arise interpersonally. The protagonists are Claire and Leon. They have very different character arcs, and one might feel that they belong in different movies. However, the mind is not one archetype. By giving Claire and Leon different plots, the film can explore Floppy Feet's psyche in a more real and human way. Claire's arc is about realizing her potential. We know from the line, "I wish I could whistle," that she feels inadequate. She also doesn't return her library books, and she's addicted to Webkinz. With the zombie apocalypse putting her in more and more dangerous situations, she's forced to take action. She's put in a spot where she can't let her fear of gas win, cause that would mean death. One of the first lines Leon says is that they're not afraid of anything, not even gas. As we all know, peak masculinity is being fearless and a reckless idiot. Later in the same scene, they say that the eaters are too ugly for my taste. The line hints at their repressed sexuality. Leon's arc is about breaking free from these concepts, masculinity and sexuality. The film explicitly challenges gender conformity and toxic masculinity. At the end, Leon is the product of that challenging, showing the positive aspects of exploring your gender identity. Floppy Feet embodies both Claire's and Leon's themes. He's capable, but only in Club Penguin. He expresses his gender identity, but only in Club Penguin. It isn't until he's at death's door that he realizes he needs to take action. But at that point, it's too late. He wants to fix the damage Chaos has done, but is forced to pass the task to Claire and Leon. Floppy Feet's mind consists of its own characters. Sherry is his childlike wonder who struggles in a dying mindscape. Floppy Feet's rejection of this wonder alienates her from the rest of the mind, slowly forming her into her own person. Ada is Floppy Feet's sexual inclination and gender identity. She has struggled to get Floppy Feet to express who he truly is. Dissatisfied that he only does so in Club Penguin, she turns to force femming. She takes parts of his mind, experimenting on them, but she never quite succeeds. Annette, or Responsibility, has defected. She's very capable, but instead of being an adult, she operates two Club Penguin accounts, Floppy Feet's and her own Mad Smash. She rejects Sherry, because childlike wonder is inherently curious. If that curiosity got the better of Floppy Feet, then he'd stop playing Club Penguin and start trying new things. Responsibility also hinders Ada, for sex would be a distraction from getting points. Chaos is the amalgamation of all these conflicts in Floppy Feet's mind. When he runs amok, that's when Floppy Feet starts dying. The librarian serves as a judge. Through him, the weaknesses and sins of all characters are revealed. His relentless hunt shows that all are flawed. It begets the question, if all have sinned, who is then worthy of punishment and whom should exact it? Some people are confused with how everything ties together and why there was a zombie apocalypse. Some have even criticized this masterpiece for having a messy plot, but they simply do not have a galaxy brain. The film gives you all the pieces needed to see how Floppy Feet created Eaters. Club Penguin is a website that appeals to childlike wonder, so it's no surprise that Sherry prompted Floppy Feet to start using it. However, the one who was supposed to make sure he played a reasonable amount of responsibility became addicted to the game. In fact, she became so obsessed with it that Floppy Feet did not have time to eat. Sherry, being the smart child that she is, reminded Floppy Feet that he could eat leftovers and Lunchables. For years, that was all that he ate. When he finally brought himself to eat something else, Chipotle, his body had a violent reaction. The Lunchable nutrition was feeding Chaos, so when the new Chipotle nutrition busted through to bring about order, Chaos resisted and mutated, killing Chipotle and giving Floppy Feet lethal diarrhea. Chaos was present in his feces and spread through the sewers, infecting all of Furry City. This is why the infected are eaters. They have an endless hunger for Lunchables and Club Penguin. The only way to stop the infection is at the source, killing Floppy Feet and Chaos. It is never stated outright what Floppy Feet identifies as. Seeing how persistent Ada is with force-femming, I believe that Floppy Feet was a closeted trans, either binary, non-binary, or fluid. He presented as masculine and used he/him pronouns, because he had no need to show his identity IRL. In Club Penguin, he could present himself however he wanted, without any judgment at all. Just as Responsibility was obsessed with Club Penguin, Ada was obsessed with force-femming. So when certified Dembo Leon shows up, her wish to transition someone in real life comes true. This brings up an interesting trans narrative. At the beginning, you wouldn't think that Leon would be interested in exploring their gender identity. They seem comfortable with their masculine framing. However, many people, myself included, don't know how restricting gender roles are until we're shown something else. It's like spending your whole life eating mashed potatoes with meatballs and lingonberries without knowing that there's something called chicken tikka masala. When you find out about it, you realize that that's something you actually want, maybe even need. This whole metaphor is dumb, I just want to say that. Like Leon, I wouldn't even know that I wanted to play with gender if I wasn't friends with non-binary people. Leon doesn't settle for a label at the end. They decide to experiment with they/them pronouns. I think this is a wonderful way to end their arc in the film because it doesn't end. Playing and exploring with gender doesn't always have a set destination, and if there is a goal, it takes a long time getting there. Ada says that she's force-femming Leon, transitioning them to a woman. This references the fear many transphobes have, the evil transgender agenda, where trans women and trans men forces kids to change their gender. But the film shows us that that's not what happens. What happens is that when introduced to the concept of transgenderism, when understanding how loose the constrictions of gender really is, people can find joy in experimenting with their identity. They can begin to know themselves better. Club Penguin represents a crucial duality in this film. While it gave Floppy Feet an opportunity to explore his gender identity, it also became his doom. It made the responsibility defect and neglect her responsibilities. When Floppy Feet's Lunchable addiction got out of control, she didn't put a stop to it. All her power went to getting points. Responsibility is a foil to Claire, who played Webkins. What differentiates the two, and ultimately leads to Claire becoming Responsibility number 2, is how they treat childlike wonder. Responsibility neglects her, because Sherry is a hindrance to her Club Penguin career. Claire instead invites Sherry to hang out. Claire understands how much it hurts to have your childlike wonder denied. In the beginning of the film, Leon shuts down her singing. Thus it makes sense why she's so protective over Sherry, because she wants to protect her own childhood. This coming-of-age story ends with the message that yes, you need to be responsible, but childlike wonder is a crucial part of a healthy mind. The core theme of this film is this: when you're put in the right situation, your true potential shines through. Claire had all the making of great within her. It just needed a trigger. The same can be said about Leon exploring their identity. As amazing as this film is, I have my criticisms. The librarian works as a narrative. He forces the characters to face the consequences of their actions. The film was so close to making the librarian a sort of hero. However, the librarian doesn't succeed and is instead punished. He is vilified, and in the end, no one returns their books. This is a horrible representation of people who volunteer at the library. The message is that it's okay to not return your books, and that librarians should not stalk people. There's no excuse for this portrayal, and I completely understand why some people refuses to watch this film because of it. Another criticism people have is that Ada should not be stuck falling for all time and an eternity. They see it as a message that libido is not valid. I don't agree with that. Responsibility did one good thing, and that's keeping Floppy Feet a virgin. This film portrays the dangers of sexual attraction and gives us one final message. Horny people have no rights. The ace reckoning is upon us, and orgasms will have nowhere to hide. Asexuality is true enlightenment. This is totally not me forcing a message into a narrative, and if you disagree, I will block you. Long may asexuals reign. Thank you so much for watching. I had a blast making this, and this goes without saying. Please support Penny Parker at SnapCube's, Ryan Mitchum at Chongo Tweet, Alfred Coleman at Paper Box House, Red Von Buskirk. Is it Von or Van? Or Von? I don't know. At RoboFriend, Lily Blue Lennox at Blue Space Queen, Haley Rose at Hey Stews, and Chase Young at Clown Depot. Where can you find me? Well, when you find yourself in times of trouble, Mother Gravity will come to you, speaking words of wisdom. Asexuals belong in the Pride Parade. Have a nice one, lads.